You know what I'm here for.
Back on top, punching the clock, clutching sanity. I got more cribs than Habitat for Humanity.
What's good, y'all? Today we're gonna be talking about the Lakers. Off to a bad start this season. I don't want to be the one to really overreact, but I always say it takes me about 20 games to really know what I think about a team in full. And right now the Lakers sitting at 9-10, 19 games into their season. They just haven't looked great. Now you could easily say LeBron James has not played a good portion of the season so far. LeBron is of course a big piece to this team, but it's not just the fact that LeBron's missed games that worries me a lot, because even when he's been playing, they haven't looked amazing. It's more so just the team as a whole, the fluidity of the team on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, they're not the same team that they were the last couple seasons, and it kind of worries me. And I'll say this, I'm not the biggest Lakers fan. I'm a Celtics fan, so I don't really care for the Lakers, but they were a team that we all thought were poised to be in a position to win a championship. And right now, they look like a team that might, struggle to make the playoffs, honestly. Just there's no fluidity to the offense. Guys are really struggling for them. AD hasn't been consistent at all. Russell Westbrook has been trying to string it together a little bit lately, but his start of the season has been rough. And they've been dealing with, guys missing time. Tatum Horton-Tucker just came back. He was cool the first few games, and then he put up a stinker last night against the Knicks. Just very inconsistent play from this Lakers team as a whole. We got them scrapping with the Pistons in Detroit and then going to the Knicks last night, being blown out, tried to come back, but it was too little too late. The Lakers are struggling, and it's bad, man. These stats that I'm about to pull up on the screen from StatMuse really show like just how poor that this team has been so far this season. And if it was like maybe 10 games into the season, I wouldn't really be worrying too much. But we're about 20 games in. We're about a fourth of the way through the season. This is the point where you really get to know what teams are, who their identity is. And right now, the Lakers don't have an identity. These stats, the Lakers are 9-10. They were 24th in net rating, 25th in offensive rating, 20th in defensive rating. They have allowed the 28th most points in the league, 29th in turnovers per game, and 20th in threes made. And they have trailed by 25 plus points in about 6 of their 19 games. About a third of their games. That's not good. That's not good at all. That just shows like this team is just, they're not orchestrated well right now. And I think the cop-out is to say LeBron is not playing. Like, he's been out. First, a couple injuries that he was nursing earlier this season, and then the suspension last night. I think it's a little deeper than that, man. I think it's a little deeper than that. They got Russell Westbrook for this reason. If LeBron had to miss time, or so LeBron can, rest, not have to play all 82 games for this team to be good. So LeBron doesn't have to, play crazy in the regular season for this team to be one of the best in the league. They got Russell Westbrook for this reason, a guy that can weather the storm when LeBron needs to take time off. And that just hasn't been that so far this season. It's not all on Russ. I'm not going to say that. I mean, the team, like it says right here, they're 20th in three-pointers made. A team that has Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, you got to have shooters around them. And those shooters haven't been knocking down shots. Malik Monk hasn't been great. Wayne Ellington has been in and out of the lineup. Like, guys, they don't have a lot of shooting to begin with. Carmelo's been their best three-point shooter so far this season. They don't have spacing really to begin with, but the guys that they do have aren't shooting great really outside of Carmelo. At least that's what the eye test is telling me. I also don't like how DeAndre Jordan gets minutes, because it just seems like every time he's on the court, this team just plays worse. And then AD plays the 5 some nights he doesn't. He's been very inconsistent this season, and it really ticks me off, because I was like the leader of this is gonna be an AD MVP caliber season. Not saying I didn't think he was gonna win MVP, but I had him in my top 3. I had him winning Defensive Player of the Year. I thought this was gonna be the year, and he's the anchor of this defense, and this defense is bottom 3rd in the league right now in pretty much every category on the defensive side of the floor. So it's not looking good for the Lakers, bro. And it's 20 games in. You don't really have reinforcements coming back. I mean, Trevor Ariza will be back, and LeBron, hopefully he's going to be healthy for the rest of the season. But it's like this team is kind of in a weird shape. I don't think Kendrick Nunn coming back is going to help their defensive struggles at all. Might help score the ball a little more, but that's not really what this team is struggling with. They're struggling with the thing that won them a championship a couple years ago and helped them make the playoffs last year. People forget the Lakers, even without AD and LeBron James for the majority of the second half of the season, they were still, I think, a top 2 defense last season. They were still elite when those guys were not on the floor, because they hung their hat on the defensive side of the ball. And it seems like this team lost that identity with some of their offseason moves. They did have a big time roster turnover. We talked about that all offseason, how they have like 13 or 14 new faces in their locker room, or guys from a couple years ago that were on the team. But I can't really use that as an excuse, man. We're 20 games in, and you see other teams succeeding with a bunch of new faces. The Bulls have a bunch of new faces. They're thriving. They're playing great. The Lakers ain't doing that. And they're just not doing that right now. And, you know, LeBron's crazy, man. LeBron could come back, be LeBron James, and this will all get swept under the rug. It'll just be a bad start. But I don't want to see LeBron's 36 going on 37 next month. He shouldn't have to be able to do that, man. That's why you traded for Anthony Davis in the first place. That's why you traded for AD in the first place, an MVP caliber player. You want him to play MVP caliber basketball. That's why you traded for Russell Westbrook. He may not be MVP from 2017 Russell Westbrook, but he's still an all-star caliber player. He's still somebody that helped the Wizards make the playoffs last season. He's still somebody that has, you know, carried bad teams to the playoffs before, and is still a very, very good guard in this league. You got guys, man. You got talent on this team, and it's not coming together right now. I know people probably gonna look at, you know, the coaching, Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel ain't been doing a good job this season, you know, to keep it, you know, honest. I thought he deserved more credit for their championship run, but since then he hasn't been doing amazing, you know, with the cards that he's been dealt. So right now, 9-10, it's still a lot of season left, but while teams are starting to ascend, teams are starting to show, you know, who they are. The Suns are, you know, showing that they're still a championship caliber team. The Golden State Warriors are showing that they're very good. The Jazz have an identity. Even teams like Portland's starting to play better. Denver's playing cool, but they are dealing with injuries and stuff. Teams are starting to establish who they are. The Clippers, the Dallas Mavericks, are starting to establish who they possibly are as the season goes on. And who I see the Lakers as right now is just a bad team. They're just a bad team that can't really defend, don't have adequate floor spacing, and their star guys aren't playing like star guys every single night. They're not playing like star guys every single night. And now the burden is probably going to be on LeBron James to be in MVP mode for this team to, you know, get to where they want to be. I think the Lakers might be in trouble. I think they might be in trouble. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Laker fans, if you watch this video, I really want to hear what y'all think, because from an outsider, it looks like it's a mess. Maybe I'm missing something, but I don't know if just LeBron James coming back and getting back into his rhythm is going to be enough to really save this team's, you know, championship hopes so far this season. Let me know what y'all think. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Leave a like, subscribe if you are new. Helps the channel out a lot. And I'm out. Peace.
Off season. Let's work. Hey, plotting my escape, this game riding.